Hey everyone, welcome back to Visually Hidden Selects. I'm Peter O'Brien, and today I'd like to talk to you about The Razor's Edge from 1984, directed by John Byrum and starring Bill Murray in his first dramatic role. That was one of the things that really attracted me to this film because it came out in 1984 along with Ghostbusters, and they were both produced by Columbia Pictures. In fact, the only reason Bill Murray agreed to be in Ghostbusters was if Columbia financed this film, which he also co-wrote, so he was very involved with the production. I guess he was trying to break out of his comedic roles and trying to establish himself as a more versatile actor. Some might say that backfired or blew up in his face because the film was really not well received when it first came out. People probably just couldn't reconcile or accept him in the dramatic role of Larry Darrell, and so the film did not do well. Personally, I think it's one of his best films, if not his best film, because he just delivers a very strong performance, and there are comedic linings within the character. And so in that regard, I kind of feel like Bill Murray got the shaft with this particular film because he really did an excellent job, in my opinion. And he finished filming this movie and then flew directly to New York to film Ghostbusters. They were shot back to back, and then I believe Ghostbusters came out first, and when this film came out later that same year, 1984, it was just not well received. Bill Murray, up to that point, he was Mr. Comedy. He came out of Saturday Night Live and he did Stripes and Meatballs and Tootsie and Ghostbusters, and then he comes along with this heavy drama about a character searching for the meaning of life, and audiences just were not ready for it. You know, today, he's done lots of drama. He was nominated for the Academy Award for Lost in Translation. You know, even his work with Wes Anderson. There are comedic elements in those films, but there's very strong balance of drama in those stories as well. So I think this is just a precursor to what he was capable of, and it's just a shame that audiences weren't ready for it. It's based on a novel written by W. Somerset Maugham, which was first published in 1944 and very quickly bought up and produced into a film in 1946 starring Tyrone Powers, but they are very different films. Not only because of the time in which they were produced, and their presentation, one being black and white and one being color, but the original version was also shot entirely on sound stages in Los Angeles. The 1984 version really broadened the scope that's in the novel, and it really took the story where it needed to go. They filmed on location in Paris, filmed on location in the Himalayas, and it really adds a sense of authenticity to the story. As a filmmaker, this particular rendition of the story from 1984, it just has such a grand scope in that they travel to all of these exotic locations and they go to all these different places on the planet that are not fabricated in a studio or produced on a green screen. It just gives it a very tangible quality and a very exotic quality. Both the film and the book follow the story of a young man named Larry Darrell, who comes from a privileged background. He grows up in Chicago, and he's not from the poor side of the tracks. He does ship off to World War I, where he has a lot of life-changing experiences, and when he returns from the war, he's a little disenchanted with the lifestyle that he's been given. It's not so much a coming-of-age story as a journey of self-discovery, because he's already a man by the time the story starts. He's come of age. But he doesn't necessarily like the position he's in. And he feels that maybe there's more to the world than what he's been experiencing. So he goes and walks his own path, and that's kind of the course of the film. The title refers to a piece of philosophy that's been bestowed upon him by a monk that reads, "The pathway to salvation is as difficult and narrow to walk as a razor's edge." So the film follows Larry on this pathway as he is trying to find his way. And he's constantly trying to find balance and not fall off the edge. Again, Bill Murray co-wrote this film with the director John Byrum. They themselves traveled around the entire country just doing this massive 18-month road trip where they worked on the script together because they felt that the script needed that energy of a journey. Because the novel is really written from a retrospective point of view. The author, W. Somerset Maugham, he's the narrator telling you about his interactions with this young man. In the original film from 1946, W. Somerset Maugham is also a character, but that character is completely absent from the 1984 version because they wanted the film to have a slightly different kind of energy. So as the co-writer and star, Bill Murray had quite a bit riding on this film, and he was very personally invested in this particular project. When it was not successful, he was kind of disenchanted with filmmaking on a whole, and he actually moved to Paris for a few years and didn't work. I mean, if you look at his filmography, you'll see a big hole, and he just passed on a lot of opportunities. The failure of this film really kind of broke his spirit a little bit. I was watching a documentary, I think it was probably an A&E biography on Bill Murray, and they mentioned The Razor's Edge, and so the next day I went to the video store, Paramount Pictures, which was the largest video store on the East Coast. If they didn't have it, it didn't exist. And so I went there looking for The Razor's Edge, and I found a VHS copy. And then it inspired me to get my own VHS copy, and I found the book, which I think is a first edition on eBay for $1. And I also have the original theatrical one-sheet, so I like this movie. I'm not even going to try to hide it. I think more people should see this movie because it's very thought-provoking, it's very entertaining, and dramatically, it really delivers. You know, the performances not only by Bill Murray, but the supporting cast. James Keach as his best friend Gray. Theresa Russell is phenomenal. Denholm Elliott, who most people know as Marcus Brody from the Indiana Jones films. He plays a fantastic aristocratic character who pops in and out of Larry's life throughout the course of his journey. And acting almost in a surprising antagonistic kind of way is Catherine Hicks, who plays Larry's original fiancée, Isabel. She pops in and out of his life and delivers a very strong performance as your basic spoiled brat. It's kind of a forgotten gem. I mean, it's very overlooked. A lot of people aren't even aware that it exists. I mean, I've mentioned it to a number of people over the years, and they're always pretty surprised when I tell them about it, and they're even more surprised when they actually sit down to watch it. Again, because the performances are strong, the writing is strong, the filmmaking is strong. I mean, it's a very good period piece drama, and I'm hard-pressed to find something actually wrong with it. It's really just a victim of cognitive bias and media and its presentation of Bill Murray and its expectations of Bill Murray and his reluctance to be typecast. So that's it for The Razor's Edge. Again, I really hope you enjoy this recommendation, and if you do check it out, please leave us a comment, let us know what you think of it. We will be discussing it at length on the Visually Hidden podcast, so if you get a chance, tune in for that. And until next time, we'll see ya.